Hello, welcome to the Mad Batter channel. My name's Chris. If you find this video interesting and or useful, perhaps you'll consider giving it a like and possibly subscribing to the channel, which will be a great help. Many thanks. In my last two videos I showed how to use Luminar Neo to convert this autumnal scene into this spring scene, create a preset and use it on other images. What I'm going to show today is how to use this spring version to create a gradient preset in Photoshop and then apply it to other images. Now bear in mind that this is a simple JPEG with only a background layer, and Photoshop has no idea what changes were made in Luminar to create this, but nevertheless we're going to extract the color palette and then apply it to another image. So what we need to do is to go to the Windows menu and bring up the Libraries panel. Once that's loaded, click on this plus sign at the bottom and choose Extract from Image. This dialog box comes up and shows all the different things that you can extract from the image. We want gradients. Now Photoshop by default offers you 3 colours. You can use this slider to go from between 2 and 15, but 3 normally works well. And one tip is you don't want to choose extreme dark or light colours. Now you can move these stops around to change the colours in the gradient. We don't want the blue because we're applying a green spring-like gradient, so we'll move this down to get a nice dark green. We'll move that to one of the lighter greens and we'll move this to an intermediate green. So once we're happy, click Save to CC Libraries and then close this panel. And here's the gradient we've just captured. We'll right click on it and rename, and I'll call it Spring. Now in order to be able to use this gradient, we need to create a preset. So again, right click and create gradient preset. We'll leave the name as Spring and click OK, and now we can close the Libraries panel. So having created our color grade preset, we'll now switch to the image we want to apply the preset to, and we do that by using a gradient map adjustment layer. So if we go down here to the adjustment layers icon and choose gradient map, it'll come up with the last gradient used. So we just click on that in the gradient editor, go down the bottom and find the preset we've just created and click OK. Now I realise it doesn't look very good at the moment, and the first thing we need to do is to change the order of the colours in the gradient map. We need the darkest on the left ranging up to the lightest on the right, otherwise we'll get a solarized or inverted look. So we need to switch this colour here and move this one back over here, and then we can adjust the colours to how much light and dark we want. That looks about right, so we'll click OK. It still doesn't look wonderful because we need to change the blend mode from normal. I find colour works best. So there's our initial grade. Now of course we can amend this as we want. I don't think we want all this bright green mist in the top here, and the way we can get rid of that is using the mask here. Now you'll recall that if the mask is white you see all the effect, if it's black you see none, and if it's grey, depending on the colour of grey, you see some of the effect. So we want to mask out some of this green at the top. So we'll select the brush tool and we want a large soft brush. So on Windows, Alt right click, left and right changes the size, up and down the hardness. So we want a soft brush. That's about right. We need to swap these over, so press X. So we're painting with black, but we don't want black, we want a low opacity. So let's say 25% and a low flow, about 15% will do, and then we'll start to paint on the mask. Make sure we're on the mask. Maybe we need to have a slightly bigger flow, maybe a slightly smaller brush. So we're just painting out some of this green on the top here. So you can see, if I hit the shift key and click on the mask disable, as you can see, we've got rid of that intense green. Now we could leave it at that, but I find sometimes it's quite a good idea to add a curves adjustment layer at the top and then go into the colour channels. So with the red, if you take the red down, you add a bit of cyan, which gives it perhaps a slightly nicer tone. You can go into the green and increase the intensity of the green or reduce it, but in this case I don't think we need to do any adjustments to the green channel. And then in the blue, a little more blue in the darker areas sometimes get a better tone. So if we put a spot in the middle to anchor it, and then add some blue up there, you can see it just gives a slightly bluer, more authentic, spring-like appearance to the image. So there we are. What started like that has now been converted into that spring-like view. If you think it's overly green, you could just reduce the opacity a little to something like that. It's really a matter of choice. Anyway, that's how to extract a colour gradient from an image and apply it to another image in Photoshop. Hope you found this interesting and useful, and thanks for watching.